good.
All right, you're good to go?
All right. So this is Lenton Hill Master Planning Project. So for this type of master planning, you have a campus project, and you have multiple buildings on the site, and then you have units, you have amenity space, parking, and the back of house area. So normally for those kind of master planning, the data we need to know is unit counts, types, and then also we need to know the program areas. Say, for example, if client wants, 500 square feet for personal training or whatever the requirements they have, the program from the client side. Also, we need to know the parking counts, and furthermore, we probably need to know the residence lockers we can provide per building. So that's all the data we need to pull from the model and then compare to the program area the client give us. Is that all? That's pretty much all the data you guys need.
Yeah.
Okay.
It probably varies from building to building, but for your main community building, a lot of amenity spaces, I think you get all those.
Okay. So that's all the data we need to pull from model. So the way this model setting, starting from the unit, so every unit, for example, this one is so every unit is I think there's a
Yeah, just kind of hover.
oh here, okay. So every unit is a group, and this group
What's that group made of?
is a floor. So when you double, no, I'll click something else.
Try to grab it from the interior, like the corridor side.
Okay. So every group is a floor. So this is the floor, and then the configuration is the unit we get from, for example, Ericsson. Say that's a, 2-bay or 2.5-bay unit, which is H1.1. I don't know why this one says F. Okay, that's a color thing. Okay, let's go pick another one. It's confusing here. So this unit F1.1. Then the floor, the type name is what F1.1. And then what we build in this group is, so there's a common say unit. That's later on when we get to the schedule, we know we need this one to use it as a filter. And then this unit belongs to RB 2.5. That's the building number. And then so that's the identity for this unit. And then the reason we want to group them is because any change happen, we need to say, instead of put balcony here, we want to put balcony here, then we can just get it in this group and change the balcony, and all this unit will change. That's the only purpose. We just group this only single floor as a group. And then this group has, as we mentioned, a building number, which is independent from the group, which means we have, for example, F1.1 in the building RB 2.5, we can assign this unit to RB 2.5. Same unit happen here in RB 2.4, we can still assign this separately, although they are same unit, but this building number is different. So it helps us later when we schedule it.
So you've created a parameter in this file that allows you to instance each unit to a different building.
Yeah, but the group is still the same group.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the group is same group, but you can assign different building numbers to the
Perfect.
units. So that's about the unit.
I have a question, Sue.
Yeah,
So the tag that you're showing there, is that tagging the floor or the group, or is there a separate thing that it's tagging?
so the tag here, the first tag is tagging the type mark.
Of
It is-
Because
it's
the
a-
group,
it's a floor
because
tag.
the
Of the
unit,
floor.
it's a
It's a
floor
floor
tag,
tag. Okay.
yeah. And then this one is for identify this unit is in this building.
by instance?
Then you
Okay.
see this one, that's the instance tag,
Okay.
which when you tag it, I do it again. When you click this one, you see there's a 2.5,
Gotcha.
yeah.
And are you gonna get to the color
Yeah,
later?
I'll get to the color.
Sue, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you wanna mention like why we use floors, why we went that route instead of an area boundary like
Right.
we had at one point?
Yeah, when we start do the mastering plan, we start using the area plan before. So basically we draw one unit by area lines and then group them and copy them in the building. The issue with that is, first, every time you have, if those are area lines and you copy those two units side by side, this dividing one line becomes duplicate, and the Revit will give you a warning when two area lines overlapping. So every time you do that, you get a warning. That's one issue we had. Also, for the area plan, every time you place one unit which is created by area lines, the Revit is calculating. Like you add one, there are three, we're calculating. If you add another one, you can see the model spinning when you add more groups. So, and then later on, it seems like we can get like over 1,000 warning just by overlapping lines and then other items. So we kind of try this round just using the floor, because for the floor, we can tag it. Also, we can schedule it. I will explain more. Also, if you can overlap it by floor, say this one.
Not
And then
not
you can
necessarily
see-
overlap, underlay, you can stack it is what you're meaning, right?
Right, and then you go see, okay,
And
maybe
with
there's
the-
a problem or something, yeah,
With the area boundaries, you weren't able to do that.
right.
Yeah, area plans, when you had area boundaries, you couldn't see what was underneath when you did
Right.
like an underlay. You
Because
couldn't
it's
see.
just detail, it's not modeled like a floor.
Right, and then it doesn't give you the 3D. We haven't got too much in 3D, but you know, you can see that, there's 3D for the building.
Yeah, so
Doesn't have
with
parameters.
area plans, you weren't able to get almost like a massing model.
Yeah.
Because with the floors, you get them stacked and you put them on the different levels. You've basically, master planned out this entire neighborhood and everything, and then when you go to the 3D, you almost get what's basically appearance of a massing model.
You could change the floor depths to be 10 feet tall and get a massing model, couldn't you?
Correct, yes, you could.
Yeah, you can. So when you draw, say for example, you copy this, let me just turn off that thing.
There's a building perimeter.
Yeah,
grid.
there's a detail file. So if you have this one, say if I copy this one, and then that's my working view. So I create all the levels working view. So when you just always tag them, and then it will give you the number. And then say if I say copy this unit, say I want to put in 2.5 somewhere here, and then if I tag this, this one, it will carry on the previous building number. Say but this one is 2.5, you can simply just click that and change it to 2.5. And then when you see the schedule, it will automatically categorize this one is within building 2.5 instead of building 2.3B. So I always work in the working view, so it gives you, you can tell the building right away if you made any mistake. So that's about the units.
So real
Any
quickly,
question? Yeah.
what's confusing, I think, a lot of people right now is you have two different units. You have a D11.1 and an H1.1 that you just copied over there. But they're both yellow. Why are they both yellow?
That's from Ericsson. So they group them, say if it's 2.5A or whatever, it doesn't matter, it's called D or starting at H or whatever E, they always color same color.
So Ericsson has a module that's a
Right.
bay for kind of their out to out of their unit, right?
Right.
And if it's a 2.5 bay, they want them to be yellow. And what does that mean? Does that mean their overall width is the same?
Is that overall width or something?
Yeah, the bay, the number of bays is easy to see, the number of bays that you, but this division is more about the area of the units. So the 2 bay units, the red one there, H2.2 for example, is just a 2 bay unit, but they are the smaller. When they grow after some, I don't know the numbers by heart, but after they grow, so we have 2.2 bays, 2.5 bays, 3 bays, 3.5 bays, 4 bays, and but they have an area that they reach.
Gotcha.
So if the geometry is not exactly like the H3.1, that is very difficult to define how many bays it is, but is in this range of area that they decide.
Gets really confusing when you start naming your building RB 2.5, and then you have a 2.5
Yeah.
bay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But I get it now. Okay.
So the color, you can define color based on different standard. Like this model is based on their Ericsson like bay kind of a
So their
definition.
module's 12.5 feet, and that's how they
Oh, like
comprise all
this?
of their units.
Okay.
But this would be the same approach for any client, whether it's like a studio, a 1-bedroom, a
Right.
2-bedroom, like a luxury 2+ den or something, right? Like it would, colors aside type of deal, it's kind of what you're working with for typical units of that client.
Yeah, so for Oak Park, we did something similar where we used the floor method and we used different colors for the different unit type. So anytime you had a studio A, it was one color. If you had a studio, B, it was a different color. And if you had a 1-bedroom, it was a different color. And you had a 2-bedroom, it was a different color. And so it broke out a little bit, but we didn't have multiple buildings, and this is the multiple buildings is why Sue added this extra parameter in here.
So, Phil, one thing that I think was to talk is why you have the groups, because this group is made of just one element, that it is the
Yeah.
floor plane.
The group is, the only reason we group it is, say you have this group and then you have only one floor here. But say later Ericsson say, okay, I want this guy like here. And then you just change it, which means all the D 3.2 will carry this change. That's the only reason we make a group. Otherwise,
So
if you have a floor.
Yeah, if you have, now you have this, 7-building master plan where you have that D 3.2 in there 50 times, you're not having to go and chase your tail 50 times throughout the entire master plan. You change it once and it changes it everywhere in your entire master plan over 7 buildings. It's one floor that's grouped, and then that group is copied everywhere to where you need it.
Exactly. And if you want to, for example, instead of change this unit, just like change units, for example, to remove this 3.2 and, okay, now we have a 3.3 here. You just.
Yeah, so you would right click, select all groups, all that 3.2 group, and you'd swap it out with the 3.3 group, and it would update everywhere.
Yeah, there'll be something like, say, a whole project, and you just go there to switch to, say, 3.3. I mean, if we have one. It'll take a while.
The problem is it might not.
It might not be in the same orientation.
Yeah, the mirroring and stuff
Yeah, I think you have to do it.
might be a little tricky.
Yeah.
To that effect, pay attention to the warnings, because Sometimes
Yeah.
it'll break off of your configurations and ask you to regroup. So you might have a D3.3, a D3.31 in parentheses, and then you think, okay, I'm just gonna make a change to the original D3.3. And then you print and you present and you're like, why did that one not change? It created a new group, so just something to watch with groups.
Yeah, also see after we change, this building number got changed, so you have to go through it
Yeah.
after you swap the units.
It's not as easy as just swapping out. You have to do a little,
Yeah.
due diligence.
So, and then now the one item we leave here is how we make the different colors. So the way the setting is, this view is by shade. Oh, it's grayed out. So when you go here, the
Model display.
model display here is by shade.
Constant colors is your style.
So it's by shade.
Yeah, consistent color.
Is that right? Yeah, it's supposed to be shaded. So the way I did it is, if you have this floor, you click that one, that's a floor number is D3.2, is matching this unit type. If you go there, go edit, and then that's a category, unit D, and then that's a material of this floor. What I did is, if you go here, I have all those unit types here with first letter. And then where you control the color is under here. Say the D is shading, which means when the view setting is shaded, the color is this yellow. So similar to say unit E, like the one here, so that's controlled by this color. So I have all the floor with color shaded we get, actually the color code we get from Ericsson, we just put it here. That's where we control the color. So that's how we control color. As long as you set the floor type based on the unit type, the
Okay.
shade color, then you will get the shade.
Originally, we were using filters and basically schedule.
Yeah, the filter one. Yeah, the filter one is you put here, you add filter, say if the floor type name is B1, it's B1.2, and then override here, say I want this orange color. But that means
It gets a little confusing, especially if somebody jumps onto the project and they didn't understand that you were using filters. So what we're trying to do is make a consistent approach for all projects to use the material and have a color assigned to a specific floor type, and then that floor type will be colored no matter where it is. You don't go to a different view that doesn't have a filter applied to it, and then they can't figure out why it's not shading correctly. So we're trying to simplify it just by making an actual floor type that has a specific color to that type, and then then there's no accidental of turning off the filter, or the filter didn't get applied to a specific view, and there being issues.
Okay.
yeah, for example, if you set the filter in the template for the views on sheets, if you have a working view, you have to recreate those filters.
You gotta
Color
apply
it,
'em, yeah.
So they don't care like through the project. So that's pretty much everything about the unit, how I set it up. Any questions about unit?
So you did create floor plates for your amenity spaces and your corridors and stuff like that as well?
That's a amenity part. So except units, I think we have three types of the floor here. One type is amenity. So for example, this salon, or this one, locker. No, I cannot pick this one. Okay. So this is a floor, the type is amenity, and we color as blue. And then, so under amenity, we will have, say, equipment area, or personal training, or therapy spa. Those are the mark for this floor. So if you click this one, you can see the floor type is amenity, but the mark is equipment area. And then building, it belongs to RB 2.1. And then the program area is from whatever the client will give you, say 1,500 for this equipment area, which is listed here. And then the last one in this tag is the area tag, actually this floor, how big area you provided. So that's all the, that's all the parameters we need for the amenity. So similar thing for this personal training, it's still under the same category as amenity, but the mark will be personal training, and then the building number. Program area is different because of 500, and then this is give you actually how much you put there. So when you work in this working view with those tags, you can simply tell, if I'm meeting this area or below it, or too big or too small, it can tell you what right away. Say if you draw it from beginning, if I have this line somewhere here, so it will say that's 880 is way bigger than 500 asked for. Then you can just see it right away and adjust it. So that's for the amenity. Same thing for the backup house. So this is backup house. It doesn't have a tag. So this is the green color is the backup house. So some area they have, like this one, the locker. No, this was not. Oh, yeah, it's locker. So that's the same category as backup house, but this one could be mechanical, electrical shaft or something. But this one will be the residential unit, which you see the difference between those two tags. This tag is tagging the category, which means the green is backup house, but under subcategory it's resident storage. So this one is a mark, which picking up the parameter of this mark, but this tag is picking up the backup house. It's a bigger umbrella. So that is backup house, and then we have another one is parking, which is pretty simple, just here.
What are the tag names? So you know the difference?
Sorry, which one?
The tag names,
Lot.
just select the tag, the
This one?
So
Yeah.
that one's called,
mark and building and program area and area.
oh, okay.
So they have mark, they
Pretty
have
descriptive.
building, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah. And then actually I have a couple here. So because on the view on the sheet, you don't want to see so many informations. So
Yeah.
which you only see, that'll be only the type mark. So this one only the type. And then this one is the classroom. You only see the mark is, it's amenity, but it's a classroom. You can tell it's amenity because the color is
Mhm.
this color. So that's why I have, those just type and then just mark on the views you put on a sheet. But in the working view, because you want to see all those data when you are working on the floor plan, it gives you all the data here. So that's about the different area. Any questions so far? No? All right. And next one we can go to the schedule. So I have master schedule here. So this is resident lockers counting, and then this one's building area, this one's building program, and this is parking schedule and unit matrix. So starting from unit matrix. So the unit matrix, the way it's set is, so I have type comments, which is hidden for now. I can just turn it off. so type comments, and then, okay, I click OK. Now it showed up. So first column is type comments. I only use this one to filter other floors, say amenity or back of house. I don't want to see them in the unit matrix. So this is the purpose for that. And then next column is building number. This one's not right. So this column is building number. And the next is type mark, which give you the unit type. The one you see is here, the first line. And then last column is count. And then in the sorting, I sorted by building and then by the unit type. And then I set up here for the counting, I ask Revit to calculate the totals. So which give us is all the unit floor, which is created by floor, not other amenity or parking or back of house. And then give you the type, give you the building, and then give you give you the count of every unit you have in this building. For example, RB 2.1, for the unit F 1.1, you have 24. And then at the end of here, it will give you, in the building 2.1, the total unit count is 119. So this is master unit matrix. If you want later on, you want just see one building unit count, you can just, filter by, if you filter by, say, building equals, say, RB 2.3A, of course you have to duplicate first. And then it will just give you this building. And if you want to put on any of sheets, then you can do that. Duplicate first. So that is this master unit matrix. Any question?
Is that unit matrix total the entire master plan at the very end?
I think you can.
You can.
I think you can.
Grand totals.
You
So you hit grand totals at the bottom left. At the very bottom
Yeah,
will tell
so
you
that's
558.
that's all the unit counts on the whole campus. So that's a good one.
So working through some of this recently, would there be a way to incorporate level breakouts for this?
Yeah, you can.
Add that and then you sort groups, so then you can go through building 2.1 and see what units per level.
Right. So you just add the say enter
Okay.
building at level. And okay. Oh, I have to categorize by level, I think.
You're sorting and grouping
I
correctly.
think I have to sort it by
Would you add another parameter on
No,
is that what you want?
it's showing you how many units per level.
top? Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so you're the building 2.1, there's a level, that's the unit count every level. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So,
kind of
yeah.
Just so people don't get confused, Ericsson does their level by actual elevation at this particular project. So level 434 is the elevation 434 feet above sea level.
No,
and-
404
Okay.
levels.
Yeah,
Floors.
and then level 445 is level 2, which is 12 feet above that.
That's
So,
weird.
yeah.
Well, they do that because at some of their campuses, the buildings are below, like one building will be, its first floor will be at 434 and the other one, the first floor will be at the level below. But they need to tie that level across the entire campus because they have one level that's like their main street.
Mhm.
So if every building has a 434, regardless of which floor it is in that building, you know where you are in space.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
At first I was like,
Any question for this schedule? No? Okay. Now we move on to the building area schedule. So this is building area schedule, which we can see here. So first column is building. Second column is the level. And then third column is the type of the floor, which means say back of house, that's a category, the type mark, and then under this type, you have employee lounge, janitor, or loading dock, etc. here. And the next column is the area, which is Revit is reading the area of the floor area we create. So this one, you know, you can see here, so all those are, we assign the building number. It will be category under the building. And when you go here, you see some areas doesn't have a building number. That is, which level is that? 4, 5, 6.
You highlight in view?
Which one they have that bridge? There is a one.
Oh, the third
Okay,
one.
so there's a one floor, they have those circulation connecting the buildings. So those, we didn't assign any building here, building number here. That's why this column is blank. But if you see this blank and you see the name is either bridge connection or future phase, then you know you're fine. If you see anything here, say for example this, if we pick this area, say we didn't assign a building number somehow, and then when you pull this master schedule, you will see, okay, there is something called amenity, it's the living room, but it doesn't have a building number. So what you can do is you click it, I think everybody knows that, then you go highlight in the model, and it will tell you this guy, which you can tell also from the tag, there's a question mark, which means you didn't assign a building to this area, which you can just say RB 2.1. And in the schedule, that one will be under somewhere here. I don't know, where is it? Yeah, it will category under the building. So you know, there's a couple ways you can tell if you miss, you know, assignment to an area, to a building. So either from the schedule, you can see a blank, or you go to this working view from tag, there's a question mark. So that gives you the building area by floor, by every floor area, and then give you a total of this floor plate. And then by the end of this building, 2.1, I didn't pick that, I guess. It should enter. Well, the grand total, I think, will give you the whole campus area. Oh, it gives you 22. So here, this number is level 456, building 2.5, and then this number, the 236,494, is the total area of building RB 2.5, and this one is, you know, the whole campus footprint. So this one give you building area and each floor in the building. Any questions?
So this is clearly done on gross square footage.
Yes.
There's a firm understanding that resident units, they're modeled, their footprint is from center of demising wall.
Yes.
So for amenity spaces, clearly there's an understanding that 1,000 square foot living room is gonna be 942 square feet at the end of the day, and everybody understands that from the get-go.
Right. Is that how Anderson takes?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, like I was-
corridors are maintained, so an 8-foot corridor stays 8 foot, and the wall thickness goes in the adjacent space,
Yes.
living room, dining room.
Yeah, we talked numbers the other day, and, you know, they're a pretty educated client, but, you know, there were some spaces that were over, that I told them, hey, this building will tighten up and flex in a couple different places.
So, I mean, even to the point where unit footprints, the exterior wall is within the unit footprint, and they understand all of that.
Yeah.
I would guess the unit types are pretty rigid and set and.
So they go to like
change.
face of sheathing for demising of the corridor and exterior, and then center line for partition walls for demising between units. So,
Okay, so next schedule is the building program area. So this one is similar to what we have for the building area, but it's just the amenity area, back of house and circulation, parking, not unit area. So what we have here is, so first column still the building, second column is type, say amenity, and then this is whatever under amenity, say locker room, family, washroom, and this is a program area. So this is area you get from the client, you just type it here manually. And then next column is actual area you put in the model. That's a floor area. And then this type comments, I use it to filter out all the unit area, which I don't need for the schedule. And the last column is the percentage of, what I'm setting here is if you say the convenience store, the client just wants 170 square feet, but you provide like 265 square feet, which is 56% more. So if the area you provide is either more than 10% or less than 10%, it will color code for you and give you a percentage. So you can tell, see, this bar is only 77% more than it's not color coded, but that could be any standard. You can set as either, say, I can just show this one. So this,
So it was a calculated value? hit the
it calculated
console?
value,
Yep.
yeah. Okay. So this is calculated value, percentage. So which is area we provided, divided by program area, -1. And then I have this, where it says the color code. Oh, no, here. So that's a calculate, and then in the period formatting.
Yep.
So here, you can tell the conditional format is if this percentage is not between -10% and 10%, then it will color, this sign color. So you can adjust this percentage. It's a 5, say if we change it to 5, if the client wants really accurate, then you probably get a few more spots because the 7% now is qualified to color code. So this is more like a database, give you some idea like how far you are close to the program area they ask for, or you're too big or too small.
Can you have two different colors, one for over and one for under?
Let me see here.
Yeah,
You can. Let's see.
probably have to add a second conditional format to it.
Yeah, I think I have to add another. It doesn't allow me to add another one.
It's a good idea to use different colors too.
Yeah, I think I have to create another column. Yeah. So
Got it.
yeah, so this is program area. So like this, for example, the client say they want 550, you just put here, then it will calculate the area. Those blank because I didn't put the programmer here. So if you don't have this 400 here, so this, oh, it doesn't allow me. Yeah, I don't get this thing. So
What?
once you put 400, say, I put 400 back.
It's not taking it out?
No, yeah, see, when, like I didn't put anything here, it's just blank, it's okay. Once I put a number here, say 700, then it give you this calculated area, but if I want to take it out, it doesn't allow me. Yeah, I feel. You can put 0,
Try it
but
again.
Click into another cell.
No, you
Huh?
didn't, it didn't
Oh,
delete
this
it.
one.
Yeah, delete it.
you delete this one, it doesn't allow me. Yeah, I don't get this one.
So maybe you have to put
If I put 0,
Put 0, then it's gonna be like a,
0. Yeah, right over.
no, then it, I don't know, yeah, it's kind of awkward.
okay.
If it's 0, it should be like, you didn't, like you provide
A big
100%.
percentage,
Yeah,
But
So
now,
you
but
think
now
it would
delete that
show.
to 0 and it won't let you?
it
Because
won't let me, yeah. Then it's,
Yeah,
oh, you
it's
have to
just-
put something.
You have to have a value at that point.
Yeah, so once you put a number, you cannot take it out,
That's interesting.
yeah. anyway. So this one is for the program areas. Any question? No? Okay, then there are two more schedule. I have to put number here. Am I done?
Yeah, it left 0 in there.
Okay.
We're good.
So there's another one for the parking schedule. So parking schedule. Let me open the parking. So how this work is, that's a building number and that's the total count of parking. So what we did is, if there's a parking, I create a similar same parameter here. So assign this parking belongs to building 2.4. And then we have those group which have 3 parking in there. You can still assign, you can just tab it, and you can tell it's 2.4. There's a best way, like fast way to do it is if you crop the view. If you crop the view only to this building, there's no parking lot, it's okay. So I want to know how many, if I assign right building number to the parking here, then you can just pick one parking and right click and then select visible in view. It will select every single parking in this view and then even include all the parking families in the group, and then you can tell it's 2.4. If you get it wrong, for example, if you have one parking I have here and just say RB3, and then if you pick one and then right click, select all in the view, this one becomes blank. So that means there's a 1 or 2 or whatever the parking, either they don't have a building number or they have a wrong building number, which is not RB 2.4, then you can just put RB 2.4 here. It will change all the parking here to RB 2.4. But just make sure you crop the view to the building first, because if you do this, when you do pick a parking and right click do that, it will pick everything in its view. So just crop it first to the building you want to calculate. So that's for the parking count. Any questions?
So what are those? Are they families? Are they groups?
Parking?
Parking spaces.
Those single ones are family, but this one, because you don't want to draw 3,
Right.
so we group
It's a
them.
Group of families.
Yeah.
Did you group the columns with the 3 parking spots?
I think it has column, yeah.
Okay. And so what, are you assigning what in the family? Is it drafting lines or, because before you were assigning things to a floor, but.
This one is assigning to the family. So this family has a parameter called building.
Gotcha.
Yeah, same parameter as we assign to the floor.
Okay. And if you want to do a count, it's counting the instances, regardless of whether they're in a group or not,
Yes,
of that particular family.
right,
That building type or the name.
Right.
yeah,
Sorted
type.
however you want it sorted.
yeah.
And then how do you do the handicap spaces? Are they just a different
Oh, I didn't do that. I think you
size?
can do the same thing. That would be I think you have to change this one to say handicap or something.
Would be a
And then
different type of the same family.
it will be a different type, but the building parameter is an instance, so you can still assign it. So we can just try it here. Say if I have this guy here, I have to copy one here. Say if this one, do they have one? No, okay. So I duplicate it, say ADA. Yeah, I think I have to revise the schedule because schedule doesn't pick up. I think the one,
Go to your filter.
yeah, the filter, I only filtered the, where is it here?
No, you got filter.
No, one filter here.
So what's the sorting?
It's not the building.
Parking.
Go to sorting. So let's look at my building.
That's by building.
So maybe when you copied it, it didn't
Oh,
assign the building?
I think when I create it, it's by, That means now it's only picking up the normal parking. Oh, I forgot when I did that.
Well, it's sorting by building.
Yeah.
So cancel out of that, select that spot that you just created.
And assign it a building.
So you do a similar thing, right?
Yeah,
Add a building
but I mean,
ADA.
do they give me, that's already 2.4.
2.4 has 119, so delete
Okay,
it.
delete
What
this
happens
guy.
if you delete it? It's 118.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
so
it's
is it-
counting this, but I think I have to create to separate how many for regular parking, how many for
ADA.
ADA parking. Yeah, I think that's achievable.
Yeah.
So that's parking, and then I think you can get a grand total too. I just didn't have it here. So next schedule I have is for resident lockers. So basically a similar thing. Say this locker family, I have a parameter called building, and then when you place them in building, say all the lockers in this 2.4 has building RB 2.4, and then in the schedule it will separate them. So you can tell if 2.5 has like 120 units, you only have 113, you know you're a little bit short.
And are you accommodating that these are a storage unit that's stacked on top of another storage unit, so each one of those instances is actually 2 lockers?
This one is a 1 locker, so I
Okay.
didn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a way to do that if it is stacked, you have one family that indicates 1 stack, but it's actually 2 lockers, can you like duplicate, like double the count or something like that, or?
I don't know how you do that. But I mean, if you have one family is the one at the bottom, you put another one on the top, and then you always copy that, then it will count. But if the one family with 2, I don't know how you call that.
You group it, right, and have one load, change the
Oh, yeah,
elevation
that-
on the other
yeah.
one, so
Oh,
then
that works.
every time
Compares.
you copy one in plan, it's 2, right?
That works too.
Yeah, and it
that
would
works.
count it was counted as 2, but, or you could create a different type that indicates that it's a double stacked locker or something like that, and then you would get a count for how many double stacked lockers that you have, and then obviously you multiply that by 2 to get your
Sure.
locker count.
So that's pretty much everything. The one thing I want to talk about is, how you draw everything is correct, not overlapping. Say if you have this view, this back of house overlapping like this, the one way you can tell is from, you see it. But sometimes it's like really tiny difference, you cannot tell. What you can tell is you go to the warning,
Manage.
warnings. So you will see most of those cases is under highlighting floor overlapping. So then you will know you didn't draw it right, which will cause your schedule doesn't give you a red number. So that's one way you can kill all the, the warnings. Make sure you draw the floor just abut each other, no overlapping, no gap, and then your schedule will give you a red number. Otherwise, the schedule will give you a wrong number. So that's one way to do it. There's some warning is the duplicate mark. I leave it there. That happens, say, RB 2.4, you have a amenity space, which is type, which is fine. It doesn't give you a warning. But you have this mark as entry living. You will have the same space in other buildings. So you can either live with it or you can name it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's not a big deal.
Entry living 2.4, entry living 2.4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Say resident storage, you'll have duplicate mark, or kitchen, something like that. So that's not a big deal. Either you change to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or just leave it.
Is that another reason to group the floors for the units? Like if you have a 2.1 and another 2.1, they have duplicate marks.
No.
But if they're a duplicate of a view, then they don't because it's another instance of.
Yeah,
or
because this one is a
block.
type mark. It's not a mark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're using the type mark for the.
That
entry
only
units.
happens when you have, it's
Amenity
under
spaces.
amenity, but say lobby, every building has a lobby.
Right.
If you want to call lobby, then you get one
Right.
warning.
So yeah.
Yeah, so
So
That's-
to take this a step further, so this is a master plan that's got multiple buildings. So let's say you have a single building and you're just wanting to do the programmatic spaces of a single building. So I did this similar kind of layout in whatchamacallit in Oak Park. I created a work set called Program, and I put all of those unit floor types on that program work set. So that way, when I do move into a DD or an SD, I can turn off that programmatic work set and all those floors will disappear, and now I can start modeling when I need to for the actual building itself. Because once we get into that, unless you rebuild the model or delete all these spaces or all these floors, you're gonna have all these floors on top of each other when you actually model your slab and you're moving into actual SD and DDs. You can turn off that work set and then it's kind of clean and it's hidden. You can then bring that work set back on just to make sure that, hey, we're at the end of SD or we're at the, halfway 50% DD. Where does it compare to our original program, what we had, and things got pushed to fold and whatnot.
So in the case of Oak Park, we have the units where some of them have a little notch taken out for the balcony
Mhm.
instance. What I noticed in the model yesterday is that the floor plate is still the larger unit. We probably wanna carve out that balcony space in that unit to make it a different unit, cause it has less floor area.
Correct.
The correct way to do that is duplicate
You would duplicate the floor type.
the floor type.
Yeah, and then.
Carve out the thing,
yeah.
call it a different name.
Correct, because it's gonna be a different unit at that point. It'll have a different square footage, it'll be
different
not
count.
necessarily a one-off, but it's because you might have duplicates and everything. But yeah, you're exactly right. You get into the SD portion of it where Charlie's pushing and pulling the exterior skin, and now those units don't jive because the program said, hey, we needed this amount of units, we're calling it a studio, but now it's Studio A, Studio 8.1, Studio 8.2, because the demising wall might be, out might be the same, but its depth got different, or its balcony is at one but not at another, so.
Any questions?
So if we want to look at these schedules to help build our own schedule, we would just go to this, what is it, the Lantern Hill?
No, let's
Should we
do
make a
this.
separate-
Let's
separate?
make a separate file and import these schedules into that file, and then that will be like a container file that
Yeah.
people then can go and insert those schedules into their project, and then they'll have these same schedules. And
Yeah.
that way they don't have to recreate them.
Yeah,
And how do you do that? How do you transfer a schedule from one project to another?
If you go up to insert, and you go insert, where is it? View, insert from file, which is grayed out right now.
Yeah.
Cause you probably kept two files
I'm in
open.
the schedule.
yeah, you have to have it.
Yeah,
Is
so
that right?
insert
You have
from
to have it
file.
open?
No, insert from file. Insert views from file. You would browse to that file location.
The container file
Yeah,
location?
so open up anything. Open up Eastern Star or something.
Alright. No,
Are you in
it's
20?
no, I'm 19.
Gotcha. It doesn't matter, you can still open it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Central files, and then building A and say open.
Oh.
No, don't worry about it.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not gonna upgrade your model.
No, but it will take a longer time. I mean, it was like 4.
Essentially, you get your prompt to like select, pick and choose what you
Yeah.
want to bring.
Correct, it'll open up a dialog box and it'll show you all the views that can be imported into your project.
So you just browse to the schedule.
And you browse to the schedules and you can import schedules. Now, what you can't import are legends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Legends can, you have to recreate those, but you can import schedules and most drafting views, you just can't import floor plans or elevations or sections or anything like that, because
Okay.
those are specific to that project.
But are we going to do a template for the master plan planning?
We need to.
Okay.
We need to. That way that.
And then it could have these schedules in it too.
It could have the schedules in there, it could have some already pre-generated floor types, so people can start using them as you know, Unit A, Unit B, Unit C.
Just modify the shape
Yeah,
as they
and
need to.
modify the shape for their potential. Did you cancel?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, I know,
It
it
takes
won't,
time to
but it
upgrade
takes
the
time to
entire model,
upgrade it,
gotcha,
yeah.
yeah.
I feel like this would be pretty slick too, if you took the same approach and applied it for like plumbing counts.
Yeah, you can do plumbing counts, and you can do seating, like say the dining room, how many seats you have there, you can do the same thing. Yeah, anything you, as long as it's it's a family, you can assign that building parameter, then you can pull the number, pull the schedule, and then give it a number.
So if you already have an existing model and you have some of these things and you wanna do that with something else, you would open up your family, add the parameter would have to have the same name, and then,
That parameter is
So
a shared
shared
parameter,
parameter.
so which you have to add it in the shared parameter file for project. I only add to this project shared parameter file, so if you have another project, then you have to add it in.
and if your project doesn't have a shared parameter file,
You always have one.
We can get you,
Oh, you have one?
it's based off of the LBA shared parameter file, which you can't edit because it's on the S drive. But if you do need to add a shared parameter file, then what we'll do is we'll copy that into your project. And typically when I start a project, I try to put that shared parameter file in there
This is
and
a-
repath it.
Yeah.
And then that way you can, if you do need to add a shared parameter, you can add it to that one without messing up the overall LBA shared parameter file.
the file, or the model that I'm thinking of is an older model, and it may not have gotten set up correctly, and I think it's probably moot at this point, but, yeah.
So-
Last thing is how these schedules, well, I think the answer is they don't speak with Excel.
You can export it to Excel, but it's not bi-directional
You
right
read,
now.
About the XD view basically.
A what?
TXT.
TXT text.
Oh, a text file?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't
I think you
have.
can,
You can do it as a
You can export.
CSV. Is that what you're talking about?
CSV.
Comma separated values.
Yeah,
And then open it in
But-
Excel.
and a text eliminated file,
It's
you
a
can do
little
that.
complex to work. I only manage it today to work, for example, when we want to organize the sheet index, for example. It's just simple, just a list of things.
Yeah, which
If
you shouldn't be
begin
doing with
to-
your sheet index, because
if
I can
want to
show you a
put
way.
This there, this there.
Yeah, because the way I have the sheet index set in our template now is it separates by discipline, and it keeps it nice and organized to where all you do is you assign an actual discipline value to them. So like architectural is 6, and it groups all the architectural sheets together, and it's separated to where you don't have this one huge big schedule that you're trying to browse through and everything. It actually have mechanical pulled out and architectural pulled out. It's one schedule, it's just organized in a way that, now, if you wanna add sheets to it, then you add a line to that particular index and then you type it in.
Insert a data row.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's in that template, there's already a placeholder sheet to set up like your M's, and then you can insert data rows off of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I always did that because of, for example, food services, civil landscape, that we never had the right, so just create a Excel file and import the image would be. would be
Yeah, but then
easier and faster.
a couple of things happens is, so now you add an architectural sheet, someone forgets to update that spreadsheet and bring it back in as an image, and you have a half dozen architectural sheets in your model that aren't showing on your sheet index. Versus having the schedule in Revit, any sheet that you add, obviously it'll show, but unless you uncheck do not show in sheet index, but And then any consultant sheet, you know, you add the data row and it'll populate that sheet index. It just keeps it smart.
Ideally, you should be able to incorporate sheets from links from your consultants, right? So
If they're in Revit, yeah.
yeah, and food service typically isn't, or maybe 50-50, but
Civil usually isn't, landscaping isn't, you
Which-
know.
yeah, civil's probably not on our, well, maybe not for
Different
projects.
Yeah, different software.
Then
Same
we-
with landscape, well, food service usually they're in AutoCAD.
Jerry doesn't use traffic.
Yeah.
But for example, mechanical, electrical, just,
Jeez, just cancel.
just linking their models to ours will populate the.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
If
we
they
need to
have-
do some kind of cleaning first.
If,
Well, that's the only downside to it is like if they have it selected where certain sheets are supposed to be part of the schedule, but they really don't want that sheet in the schedule, then there's no way for you to take it out unless you go into their model and uncheck that.
yes, yeah. You are correct. Which I don't have an issue opening up
Yeah.
a model and just making sure that, you know,
Mhm.
Or call your consultant and say, can you uncheck the boxes on these sheets, please?
yeah, that too. What's that happening? Cancel. I think that's all we had for today, right?
Yeah, that's what I have, yeah.
Thanks, Sue.
Thanks,
You're
guys.
welcome.
Powerful stuff.
Thank you.
What? Stop recording.
Snaps for Sue.
Stop. Like,